VW, they keep saying, oh, it's different, it's different. It is, of course it is. But in some ways, I think it's stronger because you're dealing with people, say the majority, haven't had it. But I don't know any billionaires that have been buying shares.
Well, you know what's wild? Will be the Porsche settled with the government in 2008 and said, all right, that's enough. Yep. That was one whale. We are the mother of all whales.
Yeah, there's no settling with us. There's no settling with us.
Yeah,
we're the board, man. You cannot reason with us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're going to assimilate you.
No matter how much they offer, there's going to be people saying, fuck that, I want double, triple, 5 times that amount. No matter what they offer.
100.
They could offer $100,000 a share, and I guarantee you 40% of the people would be like, fuck you, I want $500,000 a share, you know? That's what people like, it's GameStop. I want $2 million a share.
I want Wall Street to get turned upside down, and I want to see a bunch of motherfuckers who are literally evil end up on the fucking street. You know.
Same.
I can't wait for fucking Biden to get on TV and stutter away and say, "All right, there's enough of this." Gary Gensler and then the Fed. It's gonna be phenomenal. This is great. I love it.
They might try to sweep it under the rug. They might just try to sweep it under the rug and be like, "Oh, all these hedge funds fucked us. Let's never talk about this again." You know, and that's it. So.
But that's why I love the fact that it's between 5 and 10 million people, because the eyes are on this. You know, the noise has been made, and when it comes out, you're going to have 5-10 million burries that have all got a tale to tell, and you know, there's going to be serious questions asked to the regulatory bodies. What the hell happened after 2008, and why didn't you put the rule changes in 2012? And what do you mean the only thing you did of any essence was an SSR rule and then made market makers exempt? You know, they're going to be serious questions. But then they got on the other side, they got a massive transfer of wealth to people that are going to have the time and be open to be able to say what they did, what their role was, what their part was. And then I'm hoping that's the big thing for me is change. 5-10 million people suddenly come into a serious amount of money, if that's how it ends up, because no financial advice. But if it works the way, you know, those who have, for the reasons they have, expect, you know, I'm hoping that's going to really change. And when I look at the SEC rule changes, etc., that's what actually gives me even more. I know, you know, a lot of people are down because it took so long and this, that and the other. Not really seen it, but that's background. That DOJ announcement to me was massive. I think that's why people get nervous when people start saying, oh, it's going to. And we've had, you know, I flagged it up, not that it got picked up on, but, you know, we've got real smart people that have been looking at this, real smart apes and DD done, etc. What if they was all meant to be correct? What if they were all correct, but because of everything going on in the background with the manipulation and the tricks and the market exempts and with all that going on, which is now known, I never knew none of this a year ago, 18 months ago. I never knew about market exempt. I didn't know they could do a naked share without a locate. And all this is coming out, and there are going to be serious questions saying, that's not liquidity. You know, there's court cases, there's a paper trail going back 20 years on this stuff. None of this is new. And when it comes out, it's blown wide open. It's not, you know, UK was told
$30
yeah,
has arrived.
Yeah, ain't this.
Go ahead, brother. You were making a great point. Keep going, brother. Preach it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just got cut off and then everyone pulled in, so I sort of lost trail. But it's that paper trail, which it's the aftermath of us hitting a home run, where we would have done money, and yet we've been here. You know, 2008 woke a lot of people up, but a lot of people still don't know the truth behind that. They've all watched The Big Short, etc., but they still don't know the truth. They just see it as it's what happens in the market. This time round, and we've been told by all MSMs, you know, the Gasparinos and the, you know, I don't even like mentioning their names and give them airtime, but hold them responsible afterwards, because you're going to have all these experts that are on the telly getting paid hundreds of thousands of nice suits, talking down to us like we're all idiots, and insinuating everyone's like 16, 18, living at home with their mum, you know, never had to live in the real world. But come on now. This is people. These are the same people that the rules and the 1%ers and the stock market has ripped from your 401ks and lied to us. You know, this is blatant lies. This is theft. This isn't just the market and how it works. You know, dumb money loses money. Well, if you listen to the experts, everyone who bought AMC and only AMC has made a shit ton more than any of them experts have, and yet we're still held out as the ones that are the idiots. And when they want to talk and they want to go on and do their interviews, start talking about the real stuff. Because if you don't, afterwards you're going to have no credibility, because everyone's going to say, we told you, we told you, we told you. And you kept telling everyone not to put us off, because we was already in it, proved we weren't leaving, proved we weren't going nowhere. You came on MSN to tell everybody else whose money you had, every other investor, everybody who had a 401 and never invested in the market or a share or Apple, who lost their pension now, not because of us, we're the cure, not the cause. You told them that we were wrong and you were right. You told them we were dumb money, and you told them to go and buy Apple because it's going to hit a $3 trillion market, and it tanked. And they're the same people you did it to in 2008. My mum and dad, working 18 hours a day to pay a 17% mortgage because of some greedy bank that we had to bail out afterwards, that we had to have austerity afterwards, we had to suffer afterwards, so that they carried on getting richer and nothing changed. Damn! You answer that. You tell the people that. You come back and you explain that.
Fuck yeah, that's exactly right.
Goddamn right, brother. Nothing fucking changed. We lost our fucking pensions, 401ks, life savings, our homes, our cars, everything, our jobs. And then we had to give them billions of dollars in fucking bailouts. Fuck these banks. It's our fucking time. $30 fucking dollars. Let's keep it fucking going.
That's right.
Wolfie,
that's
people
right.
are loving it, dude. Everyone feels that shit, dude. 100%, brother. Everyone is giving you so much props, man. You are fucking on point. Everybody knows it, man. No matter what the mainstream media wants to tell others, what they want to preach. I don't give a fuck if CNBC is owned by Citadel. I don't give a fuck that Pfizer owns CNN. We know what's really going on here. So thank you very much for that, brother. By all means.
Appreciate you, brother.
No worries, man. We've got to speak up for millions that ain't here now. Don't forget, there's people gone from that. That 2008 hurt a lot of innocent people. And you'll be walking around. I do it every day. I've done it every day since January when I bought in. This was my chance to pay them back. But I walk around and it's like you see the scenes in some of the films when they're driving around in a car. I can't think what the margin called, the film. When he's driving around in that car and he's got the young lad next to him and the young lad's attitude is, I don't give a shit, you know, until he realises he's even going to be paid. But they're looking out the window and they're looking at all the people that just do not know. So if you're going to do things in your community, A1, top of my list, family, A2, top of my list, make sure you get that word out amongst the people you've got, because they call you stupid at day. Look at Burry, he's been wrong more times than he's right, but everyone holds him up as an expert. He sees something that we all see. You know, DFE started this ball rolling in GME, that's going to do its thing as well. You know, all this infighting and stuff, that has to stop, because it's me, you against them. It's not me against you. I mean, how does that work? They want it. We got all the bots arguing with bots and we all jump in on it. No. Start talking about the people that were hurt, the people that have been forgotten. Go and have a look at the Wall Street Conspiracy, the film that they pulled 5 minutes before it was due to air in America. Go and have a look at Darren Saunders walking around with the placards on. That man died fighting what we're fighting today. You know, there's good people that ain't here today. We need to remember them and we need to be loud after this. It's not because we're rich, not because we're arrogant bastards that turned into the people that we're fighting against, but because we care and we want change. We want these fuckers held accountable. Running around in their planes when we can't even go out, can't even visit our mums. Come on now. Change. We need change.
Fuck, man, I will vote for you. Just fucking run.
Wolfie for president.
Bro, for real.
Prime Minister, everything.
Now I'm going to $1 million.
Hello, this is BossBlunts, Marcel Kalinovic. Welcome to BossBlunts Think Tank with Dr. Marco Metzler. Thanks for joining us today. How's everything been, sir? What are your thoughts on the market?
Hi, nice to meet you. So, today we have a 20% down from the beginning of the year in the S&P. Officially it's a bear market. So quite remarkable a day. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, we haven't seen a big crash yet, which was predicted. So the time was right for having a big crash after the Russia-Ukraine crisis. But the Fed has prevented, or the other central banks in the world have prevented the big crash by inflating the balance sheet now to almost 9 trillion US dollar, and the big crash was prevented, but the bear market could not be prevented. So that's the status.
Could not be prevented, but we're still down 20% so far on the year.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, taking a look in the market today, you know, it was quite a red day up until the last few moments, and it ended up quite flat. But I noticed you mentioned that the United States, you know, basically Federal Reserve has over, basically at this point, $9 trillion on their asset balance sheet. Could you give us a little insight onto what China's currently doing and, you know, new incentives and stimulus package that China's currently working on as well, or anything along those terms on the Chinese markets?
Yeah, so on the Chinese are preparing to get hit by any sanctions. So in the last 2 weeks, there had been some emergency meetings to kind of prevent or that foreign assets will be kept by any sanctions. So they get prepared for tougher times, and the Chinese, they have 1 trillion of US debt on their balance sheet, and it's quite a lot. So if with sanctions, with 1 trillion will be locked, it's quite a hit. But on the other way, in the private sector, we have around 0.5 trillion in international money in China in the private sector, and Evergrande is with 25 billion, a small part of it, but so it looks like that all of the Chinese real estate developer are now into a default situation, and for quite a long time, but nobody's talking about it. So it's quite odd. Why nobody is now talking about Evergrande anymore? So what do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. President Xi Jinping has actually, as you stated, made it so that no Chinese persons, or basically Chinese officials, can own stocks or equities or property outside of China. So it sure seems like President Xi Jinping has taken a page out of, the book between, NATO and Russia, to realize that he doesn't want his, Chinese oligarchs to lose hundreds of billions of dollars to American sanctions and seizures, from the sounds of it, right?
Yeah, correct.
I suppose that Evergrande's currently has, that we know of, there are currently around $600 billion worth of, bonds and commercial paper that Evergrande currently owes. Is that correct?
No, I think it's 300 billion, and of these 300 billion, only 25 billion are from international investors, and so we are one of the bondholder of the around 12 to 13 bond outstanding, and we noticed that on the 23rd of March, one bond was due for repayment of the principal and also of interest, but this has not happened. So, and it's out of the grace period now, and they is still overdue 2 billion of repayment of one of these international bonds. Nobody is actually reporting about it. And
That's right.
So it's the 2 billion they owe. In addition, we bought a bond on the 10th, on the 1st of November last year. The missed interest payment was due on the 10th of November. And now also another interest payment was due on the 10th of April and went out of a grace period on the 10th of May. And now, our second interest payment was also not paid. And in our bank account, now it's showing a default. So in our depot at the bank, it is now showing as a default. So nobody is saying that Evergrande is not in default. So that's the difference now.
It seems
but
like
nobody's not noticing it. Yeah.
Seems like all these Chinese real estate developers just pulled out of the ratings agencies in order to prevent from being downgraded, and that's perfectly legal from the way things look. Is that right?
Yeah, it's legal, and as long as they defaulted, but nobody started the winding up process internationally, nothing will happen, and China internally is solving the problem in nationalizing the real estate developer or taking over the projects in China, and nobody is really caring about the international bondholders, and it's quite scary. Yeah,
it kind of reminds you of. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds you of 2008, where Michael Burry was very, very concerned with why these, mortgage-backed securities were not reflecting the changes on the markets, and it's kind of the same thing that we're seeing here. Why is the stock market not pricing in the collapse of all these Chinese real estate developers? Yeah,
I think Evergrande was ceased from trading.
Yes.
Maybe 6 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Along with 33 other firms.
Yeah, pending communication from Evergrande, but has not happened so far. But the bonds are still trading. So, for example, our bond is now trading at 10 cents. We bought it in November last year for 25 cents. Now it's trading at 10 cents. But actually, it's completely defaulted, and it's actually worthless. Yeah. So, but the bonds are still trading, and can be used as collateral for $1. Still, if it's not in completely defaulted, and that's what we are fighting for. I have been in the Caymans in November last year, also this year in February.
Mm-hmm.
And so to make it short, we had been advised from the liquidator in the Caymans in February to ask for a statutory demand. So we already did this. We sent a statutory demand, a letter to Evergrande in the Caymans, mm-hmm. asking for our interest. This was an official letter. And now, after 21 days, if it's not paid, it's very easy now to file the winding up petition.
Wow.
And so it's now more than 40 days over that time, and we have now talks with the liquidator. He says that yes, it's now very easy, but entering in such a process, Evergrande can still pay us, and we have an interest due of $20,000. And so we want to team up with an investor who has millions of
Evergrande bonds
against the Evergrande. So we just talking with a liquidator to find other investors or bondholders. But if we will not be successful soon, actually, then we will do it. We will file finally the winding up petition.
So you filed a statutory demand against Evergrande in the Cayman Islands, and they had 21 days to pay you, and they have not paid you for 40 days. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Sounds like fraud. So
we're completely bankrupt.
At this point, if they pay you, even still, if you go up there and they pay your bond, wouldn't that just show every other bondholder that all they have to do, if they want to get paid first, is go to the Caymans and file a statutory demand payment?
Correct, but may win 1 or 2 months until other will file it. Yeah.
So basically, sounds like a ticking time bomb. Like whether you get paid, you win, and if they don't pay you, you win anyway. So it's unfortunate for many people. And you know what, Dr. Metzler, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but just a few days ago, in mid-May, Fox News announced that I believe it was a representative of BlackRock was discussing that they were in talks to invest American thrift savings plans, which are basically 401ks, investment accounts for, military members, military personnel, federal employees, and postal workers. Thrift savings plan directors basically are investing the funds from the thrift savings plan in Chinese stocks. And as you know, as we've had previous discussions, there's an executive order that Biden extended last year on June 3rd that comes back into play June 3rd, 2021 of this year. And that executive order effectively makes over 75 Chinese companies completely worthless collateral. Again, since we saw it in January and May and June of last year, we're aware that this executive order seems to cause margin calls because of all this collateral that becomes worthless. Given that fact, there's also an additional 2,350 hedge funds, according to Bloomberg, that as of today in China are facing possible margin calls because the stocks in China have reached certain levels that bring the stocks down even further and cause increased margin requirements, basically margin calls, right? So it really is concerning to me that the thrift savings plan BlackRock is discussing investing American, almost $1 trillion worth, almost $900 billion worth of American federal employees and military personnel's money in Chinese stocks, while there's an executive order coming out on June 3rd, Executive Order 14032, signed by President Biden last year. What do you possibly see could happen to the stock market, in the coming weeks, if Chinese stocks start to tank and there are 2,300 hedge funds possibly being margin called?
Yeah, I would like to add something to that.
Please.
So the Evergrande bonds are labeled as Cayman bonds, but actually it's a Chinese real estate developer. So it could be even worse. Yeah. So
I didn't think of that.
I posted also that the Fed did buy some of these bond investing into ETFs from BlackRock and other providers, so it's even I think the problem is even worse. Yeah, but
I think so. Sounds like it.
But it's as Evergrande is still not completely into default. It can be still used as a collateral, and the same thing with other Chinese companies and also with equities in Chinese companies. So but this could change if something happens to Taiwan. So if Taiwan gets conquered by China, then China could be treated the same as Russia.
Exactly.
And this could be the turning point for that relationship. But then we end into kind of economic war, which have huge consequences for markets. Yeah. But it's very likely that will this happen in this year. Maybe in autumn. Yeah.
Did you hear that there was leaked audio and video of Chinese military officials discussing how to beat United States regional forces in the South China Sea and how to invade Taiwan? Just about 4 days ago it came out. I think that's very telling.
And also China is buying gold reserves like Russia did in the last years, and also reducing the U.S. treasuries. So and not paying the private investors on their international bonds is also a sign. Yeah. So I think we will see tough times on that, and it will have an impact. But coming back to the US, coming back to the US, the hyperinflation now is inevitable. So the Fed has no point of return. They just started to increase the interest rates, but it's not enough to stop the inflation. And on the other way, the balance sheet is still inflated. So they said they would reduce the balance sheet by 30 billion a month. And last month they have failed. They have increased it by 9 billion. So,
what a joke, right?
So it's even worse than increase the interest rates and also increase the balance sheet. So so the cheap money then becomes expensive and will have also impacts on the economy and will drive it into a recession or depression with a high inflation or with a hyperinflation. So this will be the scenario.
Yeah. And it's a global issue. It's a global issue. Like, for example, like German PPI, production index, producer price index, just was released and it increased year over year around 38%, right?
Yeah, it's not only the Fed, it's also the European Central Bank, and even worse. Yeah, so worse than the US, the European Central Bank. Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like the Euro Central Bank, and here, Jerome Powell are kind of playing a little bit of ping pong, but it seems like people are losing faith in everything, confidence in everything that Jerome Powell was saying at this point. So, thanks, Dr. Metzler. What else can you tell us here about Evergrande? Because it seems like the implications are huge. Because there's also private loans that Evergrande owe that we don't know about. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, they have postponed the annual report, so nobody wants to audit the annual report. And this is quite also mandatory for being listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So I think it looks not likely that they return to trading. So, yeah,
wow.
and I think Evergrande and other real estate developers in China will be taken over by the government, by the Chinese Communist Party, and all of the international debt holders will not see any penny. Yeah? So, and this is not Evergrande only; it's the whole sector, and could be even the whole international debt holding by Chinese companies. Yeah. So,
if the real estate sector crashes, what happens to the stock market?
It already crashed. So the real estate market in China already crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And the stock markets and also the stock markets in the US are supported by the Fed's policy to inflate the balance sheet. So that's the fact. Yeah.
Leading us to further hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation. Yeah, hyperinflation.
Right.
So get prepared for hyperinflation. But but it has.
Oh, I've got a couple hedges for hyperinflation. So, Dr. Metzler, so what do you think here? Whether we find another bondholder that has the balls to jump into this and go after Evergrande with your company or not? Any approximate time frame on? I know it's expensive. I know it takes a lot of time, and attorneys don't move quickly. Is there any approximate time frame on where we might see, Evergrande actually face, bankruptcy court in the way that they should have many, many months ago, and stopped using and abusing money that belongs to bondholders for their own personal gain?
Yeah, I think we will look to partner another 2 to 3 weeks from now, and if nobody comes up, then finally we will file the petition. Yeah. So.
Well, you heard it, everyone. Get the word out. We need some more Evergrande bondholders over here that want to step up and actually, make a difference, and maybe even recoup some of their money. So I think it's their only chance at this point, because Evergrande's not paying anybody. It looks like anybody except themselves.
And it's not only Evergrande the bondholder, also shareholders will be invited. But they have to have a record that they hold it for 6 months or more. Yeah.
It's still, that's going to be, many, many people, in China and outside that hold Evergrande that thought it was a good, obviously it was one of the Chinese largest real estate property developers. So a lot of people are shareholders in China. So if you're a shareholder and you're a whale, reach out to Dr. Marcel Metzler at the MSA and let's make some shit happen. Because Evergrande's got to go. This criminality has got to be stopped. Between the Federal Reserve, the Plunge Protection Team, and BlackRock, Vanguard, all these other crooks that are investing, people's money into emerging market funds that are going down the toilet. It's a travesty that more people aren't seeing what's really happening on the bond market and the stock market. Isn't this the worst bond market losses we've seen in 800 years? Or isn't this the worst stock market losses we've seen since 2008? And we're just getting started. Dr. Metzler, when the stock market crashes, what do you think happens to heavily shorted stocks and precious metals and so on?
So, with precious metals, the price of precious metals is manipulated. It's artificial low, yeah. Mm-hmm. And but the central banks they hold precious metals and they also have lend it out. So we will see that they really do not hold that amount, and if we will see also a squeeze, a huge squeeze on precious metals. The access to precious metals will be limited soon. You can already see it in the silver market, mm-hmm. Where silver in hand trades at a huge premium. And we will have a manipulated official gold and silver price, and we will have a price for silver and gold tangible in hand, which is significantly higher than the official price. That's what will happen. Yeah,
that's very interesting. Yeah, and because as a lot of people don't know that precious metals are traded 98% in dark pools to distort price discovery. So that's why it's so easy for them to manipulate it using dark pools and the COMEX and all sorts of derivatives. But you're absolutely right. If you look on the COMEX, you can see that JP Morgan is loading up on billions and billions of dollars worth of silver, and then loaning it out to I meant to say leasing it out to Bank of America. In order for Bank of America to turn around using that leased silver and further short the price of silver. So the issues going on with precious metals and equities and bonds at this point, I think, are just something that cannot be withheld from showing their true prices at any given moment. So I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Metzler, for being here with us. I'm looking forward to seeing this battle with Evergrande. I can't wait to see you. It seems like a true David and Goliath sort of story, and I can't wait to see you take these assholes down and take them to court and put them through bankruptcy, because I think that we're gonna be fucking rich. Thank you so much, Dr. Metzler. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, we have seen some crashes in the stablecoin market.
Yes,
and the last 2 to 3 months, I took a closer look into the cryptocurrency market, and actually I also looked deeper into the Tether issue.
Ooh, how's Tether doing?
Lost 9 billion of market cap.
How much?
Yes.
Wow. That's exciting.
It could be the next Terra.
That's exciting.
I decided to launch a stable coin, fully licensed in Europe.
You're going to launch a stable coin.
Will be fully licensed in Europe, and fully backed with gold. Yeah. So, and this will be launched. The project will be launched at the end of June. And so the next interview, I would like to talk to you about this new project. So using the crypto technology and getting people access to physical gold. So the gold will be stored in Switzerland and also in Dubai in a Brinks vault, and can be delivered upon request worldwide. Yeah.
So unlike the bullshit stable coins like Luna, which are used, a fake pegging method to control their value compared to a fake fiat, a US dollar, you're linking your stable coin to precious metals and allowing for physical delivery. Am I understanding that correctly?
This is correct, yeah.
That sounds like a wonderful thing. Count me in, Doctor. I want a piece of that for sure. I want to be the first on your list, please, because I'd like to buy plenty of that. So that sounds excellent. That's exciting. Do you have a name for it yet, or are you going to keeping it under wraps? Because I understand it's business. You got to keep things, low key. Is that something you'll be releasing in the future?
We have a project name, but it's we still discuss it, and I will fully disclose it at the end of June.
Okay, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing with that. I'm looking forward to learning more about your stablecoin, especially if you're going to be, linking it to the price of actual gold. Is it linked to the ounces of gold? Is that right? Or coins? Would I bet?
2 ounces of gold, yeah.
That's great. Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing more details on that, Dr. Metzler. Feel free to drop by anytime. I'm definitely looking forward to discussing this with you again in further depth.
Very good.
Thanks again, Dr. Metzler. Appreciate you, sir.
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Gonna be so goddamn rich.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Gonna be fucking rich.